Hey guys, so I gotta tell you about this crazy messed up thing that happened to me. It's been haunting me ever since, and I just need to get it off my chest. So it was a regular old school night, you know? My dad was off doing boat stuff like always, and my mom was still grinding away at work. And me? Well, I was supposed to be grounded for something dumb I did, but when opportunity knocked, I couldn't resist. See, my buddy Scott, well, he's in the same boat as me, just him and his mom trying to make ends meet. So, being the rebels we are, we decided to hang out even though we were supposed to be stuck at home. Scott, he's got this thing where he locks the door so his mom can't bust in and catch us. Smart, right? Or so we thought. We were just chilling, playing some Call of Duty and shooting the breeze, when we heard this knock at the door. Scott, he goes, "That must be my mom." So I do what any good friend would do. I sneak out the back and bolt it down the street to my house. I figured I could slip into bed and pretend to be asleep if my mom caught me. Fast forward to the next morning, right? I wake up thinking everything's normal. But then I come downstairs and there's my mom sitting there with this look in her eye like something's really wrong. And then she hits me with it. Scott's dead. I couldn't believe it. I mean, just the night before we were laughing and goofing off, and now he's gone? Turns out his body was found in the basement of his house, along with a bunch of stuff that went missing. It's like something out of a movie, except it's real life, and it's happening to people I know. I can't shake this feeling of guilt, you know? Like maybe if I hadn't snuck out, things would have turned out different. But then again, who knows? All I know is, life can be messed up sometimes, and you never know when it's gonna throw you a curveball. So yeah, that's my story. It's not some ghost story or anything like that, just a messed up chain of events that ended with me losing a friend. And I don't think I'll ever be able to forget it. Hey everyone, I gotta share this story about what happened to my grandma a few years back. It's the kind of thing that makes you realize just how dangerous the world can be, you know? So, my grandma, rest her soul, she loved going to the library on weekends. It was her thing, you know, and usually I'd go with her when I stayed over at her place, but this one weekend I had other plans, so I didn't go. Anyway, she tells me about this one time she went to the library alone, and it gives me the creeps just thinking about it. She said there was this weird dude, tall and kinda shady looking, who kept following her around and hanging out in the same area of the library as her. Gives me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it. So she finishes up at the library and starts her walk back home through the woods. Now this wasn't some dark, spooky forest or anything, just a regular old path through some trees. But still, it's creepy walking alone, especially when you're an older lady like my grandma. Anyway, she's walking along, minding her own business, when she hears this branch snap behind her. She turns around, and who does she see? Yup, you guessed it, the same creepy dude from the library. Only now he's speed walking towards her like he's on a mission or something. My grandma, she starts picking up her pace, trying to get home as fast as she can. But then, out of nowhere, she feels this heavy hand on her shoulder, and this guy starts threatening her, saying he'll kill her if she doesn't hand over her purse. Can you believe that? But my grandma, she's no pushover. She whips out her pepper spray and gives this guy a face full of it. He starts screaming and cursing, and she takes off running back to her house like her life depends on it. Which, let's be honest, it probably did. She gets home, locks the door, and calls the police. But when they show up, they can't find the guy anywhere. And get this, they tell her there've been a bunch of muggings in the area lately. Like, what are the odds? So yeah, that's the story of how my grandma narrowly escaped getting mugged in the woods. It's a scary world out there, folks, and you gotta watch your back, especially if you're alone. Hey folks, I gotta tell you about this messed up thing that happened to me and my sister when we were kids. It's the kind of stuff nightmares are made of, I swear. So picture this. It's a warm day, sun shining, birds chirping, the whole 9 yards. Me and my sister were outside playing in the garden doing our thing. You know, tag, hide and seek, all that good stuff. But here's the thing. Every single day for like a week straight, this van would pull up on the other side of the road and just sit there, watching us. Creepy, right? We'd go inside for a snack or something, come back out, and boom, there's the van again. We didn't think much of it at first, just figured it was some weirdo waiting for someone or whatever. But then one day, the guy in the van rolls down the window and starts talking to us. He's all like, "Hey kids, wanna come over and get some candy?" No thanks, dude. Red flags all over the place. So I start walking across the road like an idiot, but thank God for my big sister. She bolts inside the house and tells my dad. Next thing I know, my dad's storming out of the house, yelling at the guy in the van like there's no tomorrow. And what does the guy do? He floors it and speeds off down the road like his life depends on it. We thought that was the end of it, right? Wrong. Later that same night, I wake up to this weird noise outside my window. I peek out, and what do I see? Yup, you guessed it. The same creepy van parked outside our house. I freeze, watching as it revs its engine and takes off into the night, disappearing into the darkness. We never saw that van again after that night, thank God. But I'll tell you what, it's a memory that's stuck with me ever since. You never know who's watching you out there, folks, so be careful, especially when you're just a kid playing outside.